From Northport High School, this afternoon, the Varsity Media Sports Network presents this Suffolk Division II showdown between the visiting Bulldogs of Lindenhurst High School and the Tigers of Northport. Good afternoon, everyone. Dylan Butler here with Mike Hungerford. And Mike, this one, it's a dreary afternoon. We think the worst of the rain, though, is behind us as the remnants of Hurricane Ian have come through here to Long Island, but we expect this one to certainly be a barn burner between two of the top teams in an absolute loaded Suffolk 2. When we first talk about Lindenhurst, they are the lone undefeated team here in Week 4 after Bellport beat West Islip last night.
Sure, the last team standing, undefeated. I've said it a few times in broadcast already. I think it's the deepest, most balanced conference in all of Long Island. And we're going to see today Lindenhurst, hard-hitting football team, plays it close to the vest and plays great defense. And we'll see if the Northport guys can home turf, can knock them off today.
Lindenhurst comes into this game, as we mentioned, 3-0, coming off a 28-7 win over Huntington. And there you see the Bulldogs on that far sideline. They are loaded, some terrific athletes. We'll detail a couple of them now, and, you know, it's almost unfair to say offense, defense when we mention these players for Lindenhurst because they are very much guys who will affect this game both offensively, defensively, also in special teams as well. Chris Carson and Evan Chica are really terrific players. There you see Chica and Carson. Chica on your left, 7 receptions, 113 yards, and a touchdown, doing all the kicking now as well, 4 for 4 on PATs. You see his numbers defensively as well. Huge guy at 6'3", 230, incredibly athletic, and that also speaks to what Chris Carson is for Lindenhurst, 6'2", 200. He's a Stony Brook-bound baseball commit, but you see defensively 30 tackles, a sack. If he gets an INT, Mike, he can take it to the house. 2 of his 3 were for pick sixes.
Sure, like you mentioned, you said that these are three-way guys, offense, defense, special teams. Certainly some of the best players on Long Island at their position, all Long Island potential guys. And, unique sized people, big, strong, athletic people, fast. And at that outside linebacker spot, affecting the game, and we'll see it all day long today.
On the far sideline, you've got Nick Lombardo, the head coach, a Lindy guy himself, the former gunslinger, a 1985 graduate in his 14th season as the head coach at Lindenhurst. For Northport, they're looking to bounce back, Mike. They did get a nice bounce back last week. There you see the Tigers on the sideline. They are 2-1. We were here for that tough 2-point loss to Hills East when they played very good in the fourth quarter, but really struggled for those first 3 quarters. They rebounded against North Babylon 28-27, needing a Mason Hecht blocked PAT at the end to win it. But certainly the key for Northport, they've got the tools. They've just got to put it together for 4 quarters.
Yeah, when we were here last time, Dylan, they certainly didn't play a complete 4 quarters. Really, fourth quarter wasn't their best quarter. I'm excited to see what improvements they've made because they have the weapons and they have some really good players and a great quarterback, some great receivers, and we'll see if they can put it all together today. Mistake-free football.
Yeah, so 2-1. The Tigers, they beat Smithtown West to start the year, lost to Hills East. North Babylon, by the way, those 3 games combined, the difference was 8 points. That tells you how tight things are this year in Suffolk 2. The players to watch, we'll take a look at them now for Northport. And the Tigers have some excellent playmakers. There you see him, Giancarlo Valenti. He's going to take more of that role. He was a backup when we saw them against Hills East. He's going to get a lot of those touches. A key, and we'll talk about it more when we bring in John Perez after the anthem, but a key for Northport is to move the football. Valenti's going to be big to that. And Miller, another one of those guys, like a Carson, like a Chica for Lindy, he will impact the game on all 3 levels.
Sure, Miller is one of my favorite players in all of Long Island athletics. I've been a fan for years of his game in lacrosse and in football. One of those big size, big, strong, fast athletes and can play 3-4 different positions on offense and defense over the course of a game.
We'll send it down to the field where the Northport Marching Band will have the playing of our national anthem. Lindenhurst, two of the top teams in Suffolk Division II. We welcome in our third member of our broadcast team, John Perez, who will break down some of the keys for both of these teams here this afternoon.
Guys, when we spoke to Nick Lombardo earlier this week, he has to do a good job, his team has to do a good job defensively on Andrew Miller, the tight end, a guy that Northport will establish to have the big plays in years past. But this week, head coach Pat Campbell said the job for our guys is to not run the big play. That's something that he feels that his team has really burned him in the past with, trying to go for the big plays. He said the key to this game for Northport is to continue to move the chains little by little. He said last game on the Varsity Media Sports Network against Hills East, they went for too many big plays. That led them to 3 and outs, and that, of course, led them to the loss. Meanwhile, for Lindenhurst, they want to establish the run, and they're going to rely on Chris Carson, somebody who Northport says that they're going to have to stop this afternoon. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate the hard work from the sideline. Teams now going to midfield for the coin flip. And last year, when you look at these two games, Mikey, kind of this theme continued even or emerged last year as well, and how tight this division was, where Northport won the regular, Lindy won the regular season game 20-14. That was in week 5, where Chris Carson had 2 touchdown receptions. Jake Travada had a decisive 1-yard touchdown run, and then the epic game in the semifinals where Lindenhurst pulled off a 23-20 comeback win. And interesting to note, right? Like we spoke, you're a coach. You coach lacrosse at Farmingdale, and there's a philosophy, right? Do you put last year's games in the past and you put them into a drawer and just close it and not reference it, or do you use it? And that's what Pat Campbell, the Northport head coach, said he was going to do, right? And use especially those late moments and those fourth quarters of both games. He showed his team because of the mistakes that his team made when the game was on the line.
Sure, I think that's a great move. I feel the same way. I think the kids are going to be thinking about it. Whether you talk to them about it or not, they're going to go home. The parents are going to talk about it at the dinner table. It's going to get brought up. So instead of hiding from it and moving on from it, reference it and use it as a teaching tool and learn from it and try to show them, hey, if we make these same mistakes, here comes the result. But if we can avoid these things and we can practice these things and not make these errors, we got a great chance to win, because in both games, they could have won both games. So, and whenever you beat a program like Lindenhurst, a perennial power, if you could beat them twice in a year, that would have been unbelievable, right? They don't lose to too many people twice in a year. So that's what you can get accomplished if you do these things right.
Yeah, a year ago, Lindenhurst was 9-2, losing to Bellport 13-0 in the Suffolk 2 championship game. And obviously, again, we mentioned it at the start, the only 3-0 team left in this division. And I've been on record for saying I don't think there's going to be an undefeated team by the time this regular season ends, because every week it's so unpredictable in this division, right? Like you could argue maybe being surprised that Bellport, who's not quite the Bellport team they were a year ago, beat West Islip, which was the other undefeated team. But again, Bellport, they are defending champions, right? And like a Smithtown West gets a big win a week ago, they're the 8th seed who return a lot of players. So it is that deep of a division here this year in Suffolk too.
Sure, you only play 8 games. Soccer, other sports play double that many games. They play 15, 16 games in a season. Here you're playing 8 games. You can't have a bad week. You can't take a week off in this division. You can't afford a slip up, a couple injuries. Maybe one of your best players got to sit out a week, gets a little dinged up and can't go, or maybe he's limited. And next thing you know, you lose a game, could change the entire picture for the end of the year.
So Northport will be kicking off. There you see the sideline and Nick Lombardo, the head coach of the Bulldogs. We mentioned before, a Bulldog through and through, a 1985 graduate in his 14th season at the helm. Deep for Lindenhurst are Chris Carson. We mentioned him at the start of the broadcast, and Dom Artale. And you wonder, too, with the wind, could that be a factor, especially on kickoffs and punts, right?
It looks like it's going across the field, Dylan, from here. I can't really, when I went out and stood outside a few minutes ago, it seemed like I couldn't really picture a direction it was clearly coming from. might be swirling around a little bit. So it's definitely going to play a factor in the game at some point.
The heaviest rains, at least we believe, are behind us, as the opening kickoff is a short one. It looks like it's going to angle out of bounds, so it'll be a penalty flag. And Lindenhurst will get pretty good field position, and their quarterback leads them out there. A first-year starter, you see him there, number 8, Christian Caponia, but a terrific QB at that. 23 for 41 on the year, 414 and 3, but he's perhaps most dangerous, Mike, in running the football. 15 carries, 65 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Has made an improvement from last year. We didn't play much as a 10th grader, but he's come in from day one doing all the hard work, and he's that extra running option, and a big one at that, a thick one at 6'1", 180, who you've got to defend if you are Lindenhurst.
Sure, I think the Lindenhurst coach has kind of made a point that he's getting better every week, right? He's showing continuous improvement, so that's great coaching, and we're working with a good athlete who can make those improvements. 1st
and 10 for the Bulldogs. There is a handoff. It's Brady Dolan, and he is hit for a loss. We'll take a look at the starters offensively for Lindenhurst. We mentioned Caponia leading the way. It's Artale. Your receivers, Carson, Chica, Meza, and Aquino. Big boys up front, especially that left tackle, Mike Seeger, Josh Tarte, Chase Frohl, William O'Neill, and Ian Webb up front. Seeger, your left tackle, Mike, is 6'4", 290 as a junior. A big boy up front. Off of that loss of 3, they angle that pass away, and it bounces out of bounds. It was attempted for Meza. Let's take a look at that Northport defense, which has set up a 3rd down or a 2nd down here now, and talk about big boys as well. How about Drew Miller leading that line at 6'3", 230? Matt Diaz, Justin Mack, Mason Hecht, and Thomas Kraus, your 5-man front. Valenti and Rayo are your linebackers. Free safeties, Johansen and Cleary, and your corners, Radzul and Gomont. 3rd and 13 from the 32-yard line for Lindenhurst.
Johansen came downhill and made that first tackle on the opening play to put them in that negative situation.
Caponia rolls to his right. That's an incomplete pass attempted for Carson. And yes, we've said it in that Hills East game too, but you know, when you look at, we call them free safeties, but in the way that Northport plays their defense, they're very much linebackers, right? They're always going to be up in the play, Johansen and Cleary as well. So it's a job well done for Northport initially, where you force a 3 and out, and now it's a punting situation for Lindenhurst. It's a high punt, but a shallow one, and it is fielded at about the 48-yard line as Northport gets set to come onto the field for their first possession of the game, and they are led by a strong-armed, strong-bodied, and strong-willed QB. There you see him, Owen Johansen, 6'2", 212. You see his numbers, 22 of 46 for 273 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has almost as many yards on the ground with 204, and he has 3 more touchdowns rushing the football than he does passing it. So another dual threat for the Tigers.
You're a big, strong, athletic player. Cannon for an arm. I think somebody just got to tone it down a little bit and get those balls in good places, but certainly has all the tools to be a game-changing player.
Interior handoff. It went to Giancarlo Valenti for a couple there on 1st down from the 47. Let's welcome in the Northport offense, and the starting lineups are presented by Body Armor, and we mentioned Johansen and Valenti as well. Joining them, Mike Rayo, his twin Christian Rayo, Emmett Radzul, your wide receivers. Your tight end is Andrew Miller up front. It's McGovern, Mack, Henigman, Cleary, and Hecht. 2-yard gain on 1st down, 2nd and 8 for Northport out at midfield. Johansen under center. Another handoff. This one comes towards the sideline. A big run by Rayo, who gets the 1st down and moves the chains.
Big run right there, kind of what Northport needed right there. Get a 1st down, get something established. You know, Dylan, we missed it before. They had a great job of catching that, by Razul, of catching that punt and saving some yardage. You could have bounced and rolled a bunch. They had great starting field position. Now they have a 1st down on the Lindenhurst 33.
And as we heard from John Perez, one of the keys for Northport is get the first down, right? Maybe perhaps sacrifice the ability to make the big play, the game changer, but move the chains, get the clock going, and that's what they are doing here. First down to the 33-yard line of Lindenhurst. Johansen under center again. Another handoff goes to Valenti, and he's stuck there. We'll take a look at the Lindenhurst starting defense as well, and the Bulldogs defensive starters also presented by Body Armor. Up front, it's Webb, Seeger, Masillo as your front three. Your linebackers are Carson, Rose, Campe, and Chica. Artale and Meza are your corners, and Dolan, Martino, Casaro are your safeties. 2nd and 8 for Northport. Pass incomplete. Going towards that far sideline. Looked like the intended receiver there was Nick Valenti.
Tried to throw a quick slant in there. Incomplete. Good looking ball. He just couldn't come down with it. Let him just maybe a tad bit too much. Those Lindenhurst linebackers, though, the 4 of them, they list them at 200, 210, 185, 230. I know we're sponsored by Body Armor. They'll be a better put West of Body Armor when they tackle you. I like those guys. I've seen a little bit of them on film. They get to the football in a hurry.
3rd and 8. Johansen rolls left, is chased down, and he is hit and sacked. The Lindy defense comes up big. It was Martin Poussey, number 88, the sophomore, who's at 6'2", 185, with his 5th sack of the season. Watch 88 here.
They went a little quarter roll with a little play action. He didn't really have anybody open. Lindenhurst did a good job of covering, and Poussey then makes the play. And you can see Johansen's strength right there. It takes 3 or 4 Lindenhurst defenders to get him down. Of course, you're in the interesting spot here, Dylan. It's 4th down and 13 from the opponent's 36-yard line. So, he looks like you're going to go for it here instead of punting it.
Yeah, Johansen does both as well. This time he slings it, and that's a complete pass and a first down. Big completion as it was Nick Valenti on that far sideline.
That's good-looking football right there. Great execution. Just when you needed it.
Good protection. And how about knowing, too, where you are on the field by Valenti?
Sure, just ran that deeper out pattern. He had a shallow underneath pattern and drew that linebacker and created that window. He just threw that deeper out pattern and got his foot down. 1 foot in high school. First down.
2nd moving of the chains for Northport. Inside handoff. Nice hole. And twirling toward the first down marker. Maybe even getting it there was Mike Rayo. And he does get another first down.
Another good-looking running play by Northport. They've had a couple inside runs that haven't gotten much, trying to create a little balance, but that outside running, that little more of an outside running play, pulling that guard through out of that wing T set has been pretty successful so far.
Mike Rayo into this game with 22 carries, 87 yards, also a couple of receptions for 66. A 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line for Northport, their first drive of the game, and Valenti, look at that read defensively. Could go nowhere. Nick Rose, the middle linebacker with the TFL.
Can't miss Rose there wearing that big pink cast he's got on his hand. You can't miss him, but that's a great tackle by him right there.
Real tough inside linebacker is Nick Rose, 5'10", 210. Came into this game with 30 tackles and 4 sacks as well. Lombardo says he fills that role. He looks like a lot of those great middle linebackers that Lindenhurst has had throughout their rich football history. That was a loss of 3, so it's 2nd and 13 for the Tigers. Johansen ducks out of the trouble, works himself left, breaks away, goes for the end zone, and he's in!
Great job. Whoa.
A 16-yard touchdown run by Owen Johansen.
You saw right there, Dylan, what makes Owen Johansen such a great player. It's a pass play. He doesn't have anybody open. He finds that backside window, and a great stiff arm. on Chica. And at the end, lowers his shoulder and powers himself. He smelled the end zone right there, saw it coming, dropped his shoulder there, and got in the end zone. Great run.
And a great opening drive as well for the Tigers. Another rushing touchdown, the 6th of the season for Owen Johansen. The PAT is up, and it is good. So Northport opens up with a 7-0 lead here at 6:59 left in the first quarter. Wanted to also mention and welcome in the Yes app. Varsity Media excited to be teaming up with the Yes Network app to bring high school football games to even more fans. Our broadcasts are now simulcast on the Yes Network app. So we welcome everybody in on the Yes app as well this afternoon.
Very cool, Dylan. Expanding our little window there, people to see us and do things and talk about what's going on and see these young men play football in Long Island is a really cool thing.
Don't know yet if we have the technology to get those live look-ins on Aaron Judge at bats, but we'll work on it with the guys at Yes. We'll see if we can get that done.
I just want him to get hits, triple crown. Gotta get him on base.
He is still at 61, looking for that added home run. Yankees, of course, having already clinched the playoff spot, the division as well. So Northport, pretty much what you wanted, right, on that first drive. If you were the Tigers, you moved the chains, you got a big 4th down conversion, and then you gave it to your horse, Owen Johansen, who gets into the end zone, and you got to stop defensively, and then you also get the points on the other side.
It's exactly what Northport couldn't find when we were here a couple weeks ago when they played Hills East. They had a rough start, made a lot of mistakes, penalties, things of that nature.
And look at this. Little trickery, but it will be recovered. It looked like that was Brian Olino, 24, to grab that pooch kick, and not a bad idea, right, with the weather and especially kind of the way things are for you right now. So it's a 1st and 10 for Lindenhurst on their 2nd drive of the game.
I think they were a bit wary of kicking it deep, maybe back there with Carson back there waiting for it, and kicked the direction away from him. He was back on the right side. They kicked it to what would be Lindenhurst left on the ground, and once again the ball starting kind of the same place it would be if you kicked out of bounds. So not much going on there.
Good look there, big number 77, Mike Seeger. We'll talk about him more after this play. Chica motions. It's the handoff to Artale. Gets past the 40, and a good-looking hit. And I think anytime you see a really physical play, odds are it's 51 for Northport. Timmy Cleary coming up with the big stick.
Cleary, excellent linebacker, great form, tackle player, plays downhill, got good speed, aggression to the ball. Check every box for him with that linebacker play.
See 77 there. I asked Lombardo just about the recruiting of a Mike Seeger, right? And he said the funny thing is when he went to camps, he was like 6'2", 265. So he's gained 2 inches and some more pounds as well. So this is a big year and a big offseason coming up for Mike Seeger. Caponia finds his main target in Carson, but a great read defensively there by Northport, making sure Carson doesn't get much after that catch. Looked like that was Valenti again with the tackle.
Yeah, great job by rallying to the football right there, making the solid tackle. And even, a couple weeks ago, I think Northport missed quite a few tackles in the course of early in the game against the Hills East guys. Right now, they seem to be wrapping up real well, good form, and getting the ball carried to the ground.
3rd and 6 now for Lindenhurst. Chica again motions to the right. Caponia back to pass. He's hit. As he does, it is nearly intercepted by Cleary, but great job getting to the quarterback by the Lindy defense. And it looked like it was Christian Rayo, 41. Let's take a look again. There you see the tail end of it where it just went in and out of the hands of Cleary, but good pressure on the QB, forcing that ball to get deflected.
Looks like they slanted the line a little bit, Dylan, and they brought an edge player off the boundary, and he was the one that caused the pressure and caused that ball to be deflected like that.
There's the end-over-end punt. It is fielded at the 31-yard line, and A short return. Poussey in on the tackle, it looked like, as the return was Evan Gaumont.
Good job by Gaumont right there. Once again, punts and bounce and roll around tend to go, for the return team the wrong way and cost you a lot of yardage. And right now, both teams have had pretty good field position, right? Northport getting the ball on the 45-yard line is a great place to start from. Lindenhurst had 2 possessions of good field position, Dylan. They just couldn't really get anything going so far offensively.
Yeah, Pat Campbell, the Northport coach, was pretty clear in his assessment, said of that Hills East loss, the game that we had for you here on the Varsity Media Sports Network, that he felt his team only played 1 quarter. That was the 4th, where they nearly rallied for that win. There's Mike Rayo again. Look at that pancake block, and once again, it is Tim Cleary who is bringing the physicality here this afternoon.
Cleary's just one of those great high school football players. You could probably play him at 8 or 9 different positions, offensively, defensively, and pulling around right there and making the knockdown block, run that sweep. Northport's tough to defend. Have that wing T stuff that they run out of it, and they kind of break it and get into a little bit of spread stuff from the gun, but still with the wing T principles. A lot of different things you have to prepare for as a defense.
That's another great thing, too, about Suffolk, too, right? It's not all spread offense. You do get a lot of different looks. Another run up the middle. And look at the push by the Northport line, which gets this one really close to the first down marker.
Good job coming back with a little inside running play, a little outside, a little inside, trying to balance up a little bit and keep the defense honest. I can tell, the Lindenhurst defense is a little bit, the box is pretty full of defenders, but they are, making sure they have their keys in the passing game. Have an overhang player out here to the single. But Johansen's got great arm strength, so he can throw it out here to the single, even though it's pretty far. I think they're respecting that, having that walk-away player, and Northport's trying to run the ball in response to that.
It is a timeout for Northport, which gives us a chance to talk a little bit more about the Tigers this year, and let's look at their upcoming schedule. And it doesn't get any easier for Northport from here. That is for certain. Some terrific games for them. There you see they're at Newfield, at Bellport, home for West Islip, and at West Babylon. If you are sleeping on West Bab, do not. They are a really good team as well. But that also, again, speaks, right, Mike, to the strength of Suffolk, too. Every one of those games is an absolute battle.
And 3 of them on the road. Only 1 home game on the back half of the schedule. I call the turn here. You're at the halfway point, and to play 3 games on the road or you're back 4, not an easy task.
So off the timeout, 3rd and 1 for Northport.
Big down here defensively for Lindenhurst.
Got 2 backers. Johansen under center. Nearly bobbled at the line, but Valenti gets that extra burst forward. He struggled a little bit on that handoff, but secured the football well and moves the chains. Let's see the push as well.
Just a little quick hitting inside run there, like an ISO play, trying to get up in the hole and get that first down. Gets a little what they needed and plus a little bit more. So move the chains and keep the drive going for Northport.
Yeah, 1st and 10 from the Lindenhurst 43-yard line, first quarter, and the Tigers with a 7-0 lead. Johansen again looks for Valenti, and that was incomplete.
Cedar playing that nose guard spot on defense, that shaded nose, very difficult to deal with. You see the Northport guys are quickly doubling him with the center and the right guard Cleary there. He's a load in the inside to deal with.
Yeah, and they're very young, especially up front. You look at their front 3. You've got Webb, a junior, Seeger, a junior, and Musillo, a sophomore.
I was impressed with the size of the players they are considering their age.
Inside handoff and a short gain forward. Looks like that was Valenti again.
You're Northport, this is okay though. Keep the ball on the ground, keep the clock moving. Under 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. You're in your opponent's territory. You have a lead. Check a lot of boxes right now.
And Lombardo said that about Northport. Offense is always difficult to prepare for. A dynamic quarterback in Johansen who could run, throw, who's athletic. Miller is a guy who's given them fits before at tight ends. Johansen looks and in and out of the hands of Radzul. He's the one who was in motion, and he ended up being open, but dropped what would have been a first down, and that's exactly what Campbell said. We can't leave first downs on the field, and that is one that they'd want back.
Sure, from the motion, Radzul they really didn't adjust very much to the motion, Lindenhurst, and he kind of found that soft spot and passed the first down marker and sat it down, and there was a lot of heat on that ball, though, from Johansen, and he couldn't bring it in, but a really, really good play call. I could see that coming back later in the game.
And that snap was off target. Griffith's got to go sideline, and just that he got anything on that is remarkable. He gets it out at the 30-yard line of Lindenhurst, and it certainly could have been much worse. We'll take a quick break. You're watching this Suffolk Division II showdown here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Time! Come on, one more.
One more. Riding stance.
Yeah!
2, 1.
One more, man.
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
And nothing doing on that first down run. Welcome back to Northport High School. Our Talley hit for a loss there. Looks like a loss of 2 on the play, as again the Northport defense really coming up big to play here this afternoon.
You're winning on the early downs, right, Dylan? You win on first down, put them in a 2nd and 12. There aren't too many offensive coordinators that like 2nd and 12. They like 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5. And, winning on first down kind of, throws the offense's momentum way off.
Inside the final 2 minutes of this first quarter, Caponia back to pass, throws one out towards looking for Carson. It's a jump ball. Did he come up with it? Wow. Chris Carson, Mike Hungerford, that was triple coverage. Jump ball, Carson gets it.
Well, the ball was in the air for a very long time, and I think the mistake the defenders made was they waited for the ball to come down, it seemed like. Nobody kind of went up to make a play on somebody from the back, and they didn't, when the ball's in the air, it's half his and half yours, right? And it's 75% Northport, 25% Carson. And he pulled off a circus catch right there.
I think the way Carson plays the 50-50 ball, those numbers are skewed. It's like 80-20 for Carson, if not more. Tremendous athleticism, 6'2", 200 for Chris Carson, and a big completion there as it's a first down and 10 from the 42-yard line. Handoff to Artale. And again, it is Cleary on the tackle. There is a host of runners for Lindenhurst. It's Artale getting the ball, but we've seen Brady Dolan. We'll see Gio Tarte as well. Of course, Caponia runs the football as well, so it's part of the strengths of this Lindenhurst team where they have that depth at the running back position, which is so important in the high school game. Final 34 seconds, 2nd and 9. Here's Meza, and he gets out to the 40, but a host of tacklers. Johansen, the lead one.
Running a little screen out there outside of the bunch formation, that trips bunch formation they had. They throw it out, and they're just trying to get Cedar out there to help them block, and they're just really a man short. Johansen coming downhill hard and fast with a great tackle, and you can see the energy Johansen plays with.
And Lindenhurst will not have to run a play as the first quarter comes to an end. It was a really good first quarter for the Tigers. They moved the football. Owen Johansen got a big touchdown, and they have the lead going into break. You're watching the Suffolk Division II showdown right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Time! Come on, one more!
One more. Riding stance.
2, 1.
One more, man.
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Welcome back to the Varsity Media Sports Network from Northport, where Northport leads Lindenhurst 7-0 at the end of one. And as we get ready to start the second quarter, we remember that these two teams met last year twice, once in the county semifinal and once during the regular season, and there were two heartbreaking losses for Northport. Having said that, though, most coaches would just wipe away the tape from last year, but not Pat Campbell. He had his team watch both fourth quarters from the last 2 years' losses, including in the county finals when they lost a 14-0 lead late in the fourth quarter. They committed 75 yards of penalties. That was a point of emphasis this week, knowing that Northport had to clean it up. Guys?
Thanks, John. Incomplete pass there by Caponia. And yeah, that's interesting. We mentioned it before, right? That take where you use those games as a lesson or an opportunity to teach, right? Ultimately, high school coaches, whatever the coach is, you are an educator, right? So you use any opportunity you have as a teaching tool, and even those really tough defeats will help you, he hopes, here in the next season. A 4th and 8. So Lindenhurst will look to punt the football and try to make it a long field, and a good one by Christian Claremont. That ball just died. It didn't roll like Northport hoped it would be, and it was downed at the 3-yard line.
Yeah, the play coming out of a timeout, they went to that bunch formation again. They took a deep shot, but the Northport guys, down in distance, had 4 over 3 out there. 4 defenders against 3 with the 3 receivers, and they had the deep ball pretty well covered. Good defense, good coaching right there. But then Northport, now has to come out of their own end zone, pretty much. Dealing with a good special teams bad by Lindy, having that ball just kind of hit and roll. Generally, the rule is inside your 10. You try not to fair catch it too much, right, and let it go. But that would hit, and hopefully it'll bounce into the end zone. But that was a dead ball right there. That died.
Good job punting by Claremont. We'll also see him on both lines. So it's a 1st and 10 from the 3. Radjul was in motion. The inside. No, it's Johansen takes it himself. Look out. Did he get out of his own end zone? Looks like he did, but just barely. You saw Seeger in there. Big 77 as one of the tacklers.
I think they brought an inside linebacker blitz right there, run blitz by 33 right there. Rose, and I guess they're looking for an inside run, and Rose ended up scraping down and getting involved in the play, and they kind of go against tradition. Instead of running an inside running play, try to get your hands to the edge. They're on the cusp of their own end zone right here.
The initial tackler, by the way, was Christian Campay, the junior middle linebacker from his own end zone. What a big run just to get out of trouble. Also moved the chains. A really big one by Rayo again. He's run the football really hard this afternoon, Mike.
Rayo was pretty close to breaking that one all the way.
There you see 2 there behind the quarterback.
Sure, see they're pulling 2 linemen right there on the sweep. And, sometimes the defensive coordinator, when they sniff the end zone right there and they're on the 1-foot line, I'll blitz, I'll send people, we'll get a safety. But you better be careful. If they crease it and they get a hole right there, all of a sudden they could be gone. Good, maybe a touchdown-saving tackle right there by Lindenhurst.
1st and 10 from the 14. Johansen goes to Miller, in and out of his hands. He had Brady Dolan in coverage.
Johansen like to have that one back, I think, right? He had Miller on the drag, almost like a drag on the out there, looks like over the middle. And I just couldn't put on the wrong side of him. I think Johansen had more time than maybe he thought he had to set his feet a little bit and deliver it in there. But, I think Northport's playing really well right now, Dylan, but if they want to get to that next level even, those are the plays they got to kind of hook up and make that happen.
Yeah, that first down they would have had on their last drive, right? That's got to be a completion. They go back to Rayo. Cuts inside. Rayo! A burst out toward the 30, and another first down run from Mike Rayo.
Similar play to what they ran before. Bringing both guards, 51 and 55. 55 gets cut off by the defensive line, but they sent both inside linebackers as well, so they kind of didn't have a scraper right there, and AP pops it. Good play right there by Northport.
Pat Campbell has known the Rayo brothers for a long time. They were on his son's PAL team, so he's known how competitive Mike Rayo is. Says he's not a big kid, but he's not afraid of anyone. They are little dogs, both Rayo brothers, who will just stick their nose in there. And we've got a timeout called by Northport.
Must not have liked the play call they had dialed up there. Want to make sure they get it right. They've had a bunch of successful plays, Dylan, without any real negative play here, other than the one down by the goal line. They had a couple good plays in a row. Want to make sure they can keep it going here.
See some history between these two teams, right? You go back to 1991, where Northport won the Suffolk Championship. That was their last title, a 48-14 win over Lindenhurst. They also won, at the time you play a large school championship. They beat Bellport for that. Their first ever Suffolk title, 1976, a win over West Islip.
Of course, Northport spent many years in Conference One, Division One, Conference One, Dylan, battling against the likes of Floyd and Longwood.
As did Lindenhurst.
And the Sachems, and did Lindenhurst. Lindenhurst was a major power in Conference One at times. And I think really with Lindenhurst coming to Conference Two, Northport in Conference Two, Bellport has been in two. They were in three for a while. Now they're back in two. It's really made for that real black and blue division here, that really deep, competitive, every game is close division.
1st and 10 from the 29. Another great run and a deeper one. This is Christian Rayo. Get a little diet of Mike Rayo. How about Christian as well? The biggest run to date here for Northport.
I think they caught Northport, caught Lindenhurst misaligned. Wasn't really anybody really out there. And then he just, Cleary's looking for someone to block, and he shoves him in the back, goes, get somebody, get him for me, get out of my way.
But Cleary's so athletic, he joined them then and was able to get a late block there as well.
Well, a guy like Cleary and the guard they have, the other guard they have there, 55. They're not the Justin Mackey. They're not huge guys, but they're athletic. And you get them out in space, and they'll get guys covered up.
1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. Johansen slings it, goes far side. Another jump ball. That is complete. A terrific reception inside the 10-yard line. It is Nick Valenti once again.
Nice ball. Kind of threw it up there, but the defender never really got his head around, I don't think, to see the ball. Kind of could play in the receiver, and that ball was almost a little bit, I would say, underthrown, Dylan, just a little bit, and made the receiver kind of reach for it.
Valenti came into this game 5 receptions, 43 yards, big, talented receiver at 6'2". First and goal from the 4. Inside handoff. Rayo is in for the score. Wasn't the easiest way in the end zone, but he'll celebrate nonetheless. Touchdown, Northport.
I think he saw the sky when he went in. He was looking up at the sky a little bit, but the Rayo guys are tough guys. Tough kids that run hard. They're pulling those guards again. He's just finding that seam up inside and scores. What a drive by Northport. 99 yards, Dylan.
It was, you're right. Ultimately, right, and then you start at the 3, the 4, but an incredible drive.
99 and 7/8.
And a flag is thrown on the far side.
What a great drive by Northport. Very impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive. And it's, again, it's exactly what Campbell wanted. You did sprinkle in the big play, right? Christian Rayo and that catch as well was huge by Valenti. But most importantly, from your own end zone, you move the chains, you get first downs, and also obviously you get in the end zone.
Kind of illegal procedural formation penalty, it looked like, by Northport to make the extra point just a little bit harder, especially with this wind.
Snap is good. Griffith's kick is an end over end, and that is good as well. So take a quick break here. 14-0 for Northport. 9:14 left here in the first half. You're watching this Suffolk 2 showdown right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Time. Come on, one more. One more?
One more. Riding stance.
2, 1.
One more, man.
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Welcome back to Northport High School. Dylan Butler, Mike Hungerford with you here. John Perez on the sideline as it's Northport with a 14-0 lead over Lindenhurst. Owen Johansen, a 16-yard touchdown run late in the first quarter. And then Mike Rayo with a 4-yard run to extend the lead to 14-0.
That was a very impressive drive by Northport. That's probably the best drive we've seen in a second game being here dealing with them this year, and that's probably the most impressive drive. Most impressive drive I've seen the team have all year of the games we've covered. 99 yards and 97, 99, however you want to describe it, but a lot of successful plays, didn't hurt themselves.
Griffiths, who that was touched, so it's got to be fielded at the 30, and it was. And about an 8-yard return as now Lindenhurst's offense back onto the field, and we're crediting a lot of what Northport's doing with their offense, but the Northport defense has been stout as well. Lindy's offense is really good, really talented. There's a lot of weapons there, and to this point, with 9:09 left in the second quarter, they've been largely held in check.
I've been very impressed. Northport's rallying to the football, getting multiple hats to the football, but no one's tackling one-on-one, on their own. It's a lot of 4 and 5 guys getting there, and that shows, playing with a lot of energy and a lot of determination. And Lindenhurst made a couple plays here and there, but they haven't been able to sustain anything.
1st and 10 from the 39-yard line for Lindenhurst. And this has the feel of a big drive as well. Caponia, he is wrapped up right away. It's Drew Miller, 87. And it looked like maybe a little miscommunication there, as it seemed like Caponia was looking to hand the ball off. Then he started running, but Miller was going 100 miles an hour that whole time.
I think what you had there was they had the double Y off. They had the two men up backs in the backfield, double Y off hook formation. They were bringing both those guys around, pulling them both like you would in a guard tackle play. And Miller just got in their hip pocket and was able to get depth. He wasn't cut off. And something with the handoff might have been a little awry on top of it.
2nd and 11, so a loss of 1 from the 38-yard line. Caponia goes to the air again and goes to his safety valve, right? Chris Carson dives out, makes the catch at about the 47.
Well thrown ball, good catch by Carson. The only person that could catch it was him. And, they're giving Carson a little bit of cushion right there. Like I would probably give him a little cushion too. Now you have 3rd and 3, so, don't give the big play up. Nickel and dime a little bit, make him complete balls, get first downs. Just don't give the big play up.
You see the number 1 there. It's Chris Carson. That's a big number for Lindenhurst. We'll talk more about that in a moment. 3rd and 3 from the 46-yard line. Hard count. Looks like that might have worked. I think Northport jumped. We'll take a look at this call, and actually looks like we're going the other way. A little false start.
It looked like Northport was bringing Johansen up to come on a blitz, come on an edge dog right there, and that kind of caught maybe the Northport guys flinching a little. The Lindenhurst guys flinching a little bit.
So from 3rd and 3, you tack on some more yards now. It's a longer distance for Lindenhurst. 3rd and 8 Caponia looks far sideline trying to find the receiver, and we'll have a pass interference penalty. Meza was the intended target, and you could see the contact there as well. So this will be a 15-yard penalty and a first down for the Bulldogs.
Yep, they had the inside receivers ran two outs, and they went deep with the two outside receivers, and that's an okay penalty because it's not a spot foul like it would be in the NFL, and it's a 15-yard penalty, and you don't give up maybe a touchdown.
So 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line for Lindenhurst. You've got Carson and now Artale as well. He can catch the ball, has 3 receptions for 43 yards. He gets the handoff, and look at this. You talk about rallying around the football. That's exactly what happened there.
We try to go with a little sweep there, little receiver fly sweep, and off the motion. And number 88 right there kind of comes unblocked. Kind of got up the field and made the play a mess. Turned into a 4-yard loss for Northport. Don't know if that might have been Dylan Fox.
Yeah, senior. Haven't really seen him much this year. 2nd and 14 from the 48-yard line. Artale again in motion. Fake goes that way. Caponia over the middle. Intercepted by Johansen at the 30. Johansen, another big play for the Tigers of Northport.
When you got guys playing both ways, Dylan Carson's running a post there, but Johansen's a quarterback playing safety, right? So he's kind of reading the quarterback's eyes a little bit, sees it, and really comes downhill and jumps that route. You can see it the whole way. He was looking at the quarterback and kind of reading it, and those quarterbacks are athletic enough to play safety in high school, have a major advantage because they know what it feels like to be on the other end of it.
Funny thing too, Mike, is...
by Johansen.
Sorry, Mike. The funny thing, too, is if we had the opportunity to, we probably could have had Owen Johansen as our quarterback, our offensive and our defensive impact player in the game. His first pick of the season, and he's back under center now for Northport. Hands off again, Mike Rayo. What a burst for Rayo into the secondary, and a late flag as well. He's taken down to the 36, but we often see, Mike, those late flags are of the face mask variety. We'll see if we can even pick it up here on our replay.
It's either a downfield hold or a face mask, one or the other.
I did see Cleary chop blocked. And that's what the call was, right? So you saw Cleary trying to go downfield to block. He was chopped. And look at this. You get a big gain by Rayo, and now you tack on 15 more yards, and suddenly Northport is in business. A fresh set of downs at the 21-yard line.
They're running to that left side a little bit, and it looks like I get the feeling, Lindenhurst is maybe there's a right run tendency. They're a little bit, maybe misaligned. They're lined up a little bit softer to that Northport left side. That's more balanced now. Now it looks like they've aligned better there.
There's Rayo again. Seeger gets him by the shoulder, and then all of his boys come in to help as well. Look like Artale in on that tackle, along with the big man, Mike Seeger.
Right there, same play going right, pulling both those linemen, and they were able to get in the hip pocket right there, those pullers. Defensive linemen are trying to get in the hip pocket of the puller and try to scrape down that line of scrimmage. If you're a defensive lineman and they're pulling and you just get depth into the backfield, it'll get ran around you. But if you're able to bend and get in the hip pocket, you can make a play. You can see Cedar with some athleticism right there being able to do just that.
2nd and 9 from the 20-yard line. You see the clock continuing to run, 5:20 left, and the time of possession has been really pretty heavily slanted for Northport's way. Fake the handoff. Johansen slings it over the middle. Jump ball. Bounces. And that's an interception for Lindenhurst. And it looked like that was number 40. Anthony Martino Casaro with a late flag as well.
Crazy turn of events right there, Dylan. I think you had some pressure on Johansen from the blitz. It looked like that might have been Rose again. 33 coming in. The flag was thrown where the interception took place.
Personal foul. But that was after the pick, right?
Yeah, that's going to get pushed him back a little bit. That'd be a half a distance to a goal. Looks like a half a distance to the goal foul here, but you can see the play again, Dylan.
Yeah, the pressure over the middle actually looked like it was Artali who had the best chance at it, right? 5 for Lindenhurst. It bounced up, and Martino Casaro got the pick. Their secondary, the Lindenhurst secondary, is the strength of maybe this entire team. You've got so many playmakers, and at times you have the ability to also play Chris Carson back among those 4.
It looks like Rose came on the blitz, and Johansen's feet really weren't say try to throw the ball into that slant or that post pattern they were running. They're probably a slant, and ball got deflected. Big play by the Lindenhurst defense. Going down 3 scores, there's no place you want to be on the road.
And you also don't love being right at your own end zone, which is where you're situated now. Brady Dolan, their running back, is there. He gets the pitch to the right, and look at Valenti. Nearly got him into the end zone.
Valenti just refused to get blocked right there. He just comes off the block and just gets downhill on it. What a great play.
And watch it again. You'll see the flip towards this sideline, and watch 19 right here.
Just a great job of leveraging the block of 34, the campaign, the pulling back, and he just gets outside the block and then just plays off it and makes the play.
2nd and 15 from the Lindenhurst 2-yard line. Handoff. Oh, they got him in the end zone. This should be a safety. Are they giving him the end? Are they giving him the goal line?
The referees, I'll tell you what, high school football, in my experience, they don't like calling a safety. It has to be as plain as the nose on your face to get a safety. They try to give the offense the benefit of the doubt and not call it, and there it is.
Well, they don't have the opportunity at a replay. Let's see it here again. Where was he downed?
Ooh, that's very close. That's very close.
A little bit of a reach there by Dolan maybe gave him, right? Usually you see the reach going the other way, right? And that time the reach out of the end zone. But that is as close.
Coach Belichick and the Patriots would have thrown the red flag right there. Would have pulled out of his sock or something and thrown that red flag.
And look at that again. The Caponia is broken up.
Try to run a boot right there, it looks like. And raw pass play out there, number 12. But the pressure from Northport is just they're just pinning their ears back, and they're just winning the line of scrimmage and getting up the field.
Yeah, that was Christian Rayo. Looks like with that pass deflection, and this is a situation you never want to have, right? You're going to have to punt essentially from the back of your end zone.
Well, here's the thing, Dylan. Every team in practice, probably every team during the week, during that punt period, they practice punting off the goal line.
And look at that. It's a low snap through the back of the end zone. And it will be.
There's your safety.
There it is.
So, Dylan, before the low snap interrupted me, every team practices that should practice that coming off your end zone punting situation, and with the punter coming off the end line there and having a shorter snap. And unfortunately for Lindenhurst, they roll the ball through, and it's a safety. You got it, Dylan. One way or the other, you were going to get it. There you go.
I'm not sure we're going to get one of your field goals that you like, but we got a safety. What we have for you fans as well is Varsity Media Pass. It is your go-to for all things highlights, top 10 plays. We might have a few from this one as well, podcasts, interviews, and so much more. It's available on iOS and Android. VarsityMediaPass.com, your home for all things high school sports on Long Island and in the New York Catholic High School Football League, where we will turn our attentions after this one. Our buddy John Perez down on the sideline. He gets into the booth at Mitchell Athletic Complex as the Varsity Media Caravan heads west to Uniondale for St. Francis Prep and Cardinal Spellman tonight. And then we're back on tomorrow afternoon from Gold Star Stadium in Mineola as Chaminade takes on Cardinal Hayes in the New York AAA, the New York Catholic League AAA.
Well, not much is going right this half. This will be a half for Lindenhurst to forget right here, I would say, Dylan, right now. They have 3:35 left to kind of maybe right the ship a little bit, but they're going to have to play some defense to do it.
Ian Webb with the kick after the safety. And it is a pooch. Look out, that's got to be caught, and it was out at midfield.
You know what? Some people might say, "Wow, he fell down, he didn't catch it, he didn't run with it." That's okay. You have 1st and 10 on your 49-yard line. What a great place to start. With just under 3.5 minutes, about 3.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. What more could you want? Tremendous.
Yeah, all things going right here for those guys. The Bulldogs, or the Tigers of Northport against the Bulldogs of Lindenhurst. And boy, would Pat Campbell and his staff love one of those long drives, you eat up clock, and you get in the end zone at the end of it. And remember, too, right, they kicked off to start the game. There's Valenti. He tried to angle out, but a great pursuit by Campe, joined by Carson.
Well, he tried to bounce that one a little bit. I think if he had just stayed north and south, he maybe would have got 1, maybe 2. He tried to bounce it and go for a bigger yardage total, lost a yard there. But stays in bounds and the clock is running.
A loss of 1 on that play.
If I'm correct, Dylan, second half, looks like Northport will come out and get the ball, right?
Correct.
Lindenhurst had it first, so they'll have the ball for the second half. So, if you can get out, you get to halftime. If you score again, you're great if it's Northport. If you don't score and you give them the ball in a great spot, you're still doing okay offensively.
Inside handoff, Valenti. A couple cuts, gets the first down, and more. Giancarlo Valenti pulled down at about the 30.
Kind of worked off instead of running a sweep there, off the sweep fake, they give it to Valenti up inside and a quick hitter. And great job running out of some arm tackles and then gets out of bounds, stops the clock.
Well, they were going to stop it anyway, right, with the moving of the chains. A 1st down and 10 from the 31-yard line. 2:40 left here in the second quarter. And a timeout by Lindenhurst, as they are all sorts of struggling right now.
I think Coach Lombardo is sensing that. He's been a head coach for a long time. He's been very successful. He's sensing that right now they need to this has to be a good series on defense. They have to get lined up correctly. They got to tackle. They got to get Haas to the football. And they can't really give up another score if they can help it before halftime. Because right now, even with the safety, you're only really down 2 touchdowns, Dylan. It's 16, so 2 touchdowns, 2 two-point conversions. You can get back in the game. But if you give one up now, you're in trouble.
We take a look at last year, or the last meeting between these two teams, and what an epic battle that was. 22-20 was the final score. Suffolk 2 semifinals, and we've got the moving images to show you as well from this one. It started off pretty well for the host Bulldogs, as Thomas Wrightington with the 1-yard touchdown run. That gave Lindenhurst the early lead, but there's Johansen. That back then he's wearing 28, right? He's going to roll. Anybody there? No, I'm going to take it myself. Into the end zone, powers himself in for the 7-yard score. Then Johansen, he'll find Jack Hellrigel, just throws it up, jump ball. Hellrigel comes up with it for the 40-yard score. Get more to that in a moment. 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. Rayo inside, and a good job defensively again, as it looks like the middle linebackers, I think 33, Rose was in on the tackle.
Better job defending the sweep there that time by the Lindenhurst defense.
And Rayo comes out 2nd and 7 from the 28. 2:11 and counting left in this first half.
Well, it's typical in the division here, Dylan. We came in here and I said, be a close game, First team to score 2 touchdowns might win. I thought Lindenhurst was a little bit of a favorite, and it's 16-0 Northport. This division is so hard to judge or predict, and I would have thought that maybe last night West Islip at home they lose to Bellport, right? It's can't predict what will happen.
So timeout. Let's pick back up those highlights from last year's Suffolk 2 semifinals. All right, so where we last left off, it was Hellriggle the touchdown. How about one more? Johansen off his back foot finds J.J. Allstrand back at the end zone. It's 20-6. You see the score in the bottom, but here comes Lindenhurst. David Varela, a 1-yard touchdown run. Jake Travato, the 1-yard score. They've got to go for 2, and Travato gets it. The push as well from the boys up front. Lindenhurst comes all the way back, and they win that one 22-20.
Video right there. I have not been at a football game at Lindenhurst in a few years.
It is such an awesome...
Great place to watch a game, but also those uniform colors and that field. The last time I was there, they had a pretty good guy playing there. I went to see him play. It was pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the former number 1, or the number 1 maybe player ever, right, for Lindenhurst as well, Jeremy Ruckert, in a little bit. 2nd and 7. It is Johansen back to pass over the middle. He finds Drew Miller, sheds a tackle, turns inside, and he's down just outside the 15, and that's good for another Northport first down.
Ball's going to get spotted. Now they're going to have a little time of a chains move. You can see as he gets Miller coming across the middle. Miller with a little shrug him off of me. Puts those pads down. Big target, athletic.
Yeah, 6'3", 230. Miller's future is on the lacrosse field. He'll go up to West Point. He's an All-American on the lacrosse field. Off the sweep, the run goes right, and it is a short gain for Northport.
Off the toss there, good cut, but there he is right there, number 33. Nick Rose to make the tackle again. He's been involved in a lot of what's going on here today. And Coach Lombardo was right when he described the kind of player that Rose is and how he plays the position. Very, very good to watch.
Yeah, between Rose and Campay, that's 57 tackles and 5 sacks from the middle linebacker duo. There's Johansen. Gets a block, looks for options, and he just tries to get himself out of bounds. He's forced out there. Good pursuit. You saw by Matthew Dernan.
Good job right there. Joe Johansen, he's kind of quarter rolling, a little bit of maybe a run pass option for him. And they stretched it out. Lindenhurst, they strung him out a little bit. And rather than, throw a ball up, make a bad decision, he just runs out of bounds, saving some time off the clock. It's 3rd down. And, lift the play another down. Don't throw the ball up there and make a jump ball and create any momentum at all for if you can, if you're Northport for Lindenhurst.
So it'll set up a 3rd and 13 from the 20-yard line. 37 seconds left. Obviously where you are, and considering, I think, the conditions, this is 4 downs here. And again, as you mentioned, it is Northport ball coming out. So little house money right now for Northport to play with. Here's Johansen. Back to pass. Looks far sideline. Has a man. It's Rayo in and out of Christian Rayo's hands.
Really good ball by Johansen right there on that corner route. A ball that the Rayo could have caught, but the defender couldn't catch, couldn't be a pick.
And that's a little bit of the difference in Johansen's game this year. We know, he could zip the ball, and we know that he could throw it a country mile, but it's about the touch on the ball, right? And reading his possibilities, and that's where he's become a more complete, a more mature quarterback this year.
I think I've seen a little bit more touch today from him than I saw last time I was here against Hills East. I thought, he had a lot of power on the ball and a lot of oomph on it, but, maybe a little too much sometimes here. He's definitely had better touch on the ball today.
4th and 13 from the 20. Johansen, he goes short, and it is Valenti, and won't get much, right? He'll only get out to about the 20, but what it does do is it at least ensures you that it's going to be a long field for Lindenhurst to try to push it.
Yeah, good job by the Lindenhurst defense. They bent a little bit, gave up, I think, 3 first downs, and then they stiffened and held. And then realistically, you're going to go to halftime and say, Coach Roboto go to halftime and say, we got to fix some things offensively. But defensively, we had a good end of the half right there. And okay, they're probably going to take a knee. And little victory formation for halftime here and take a knee and go try to figure it out for the second half. But a little bit to build on if you're Lindenhurst at the end of the half there defensively.
A really good half of football, probably the best for Northport. You'd argue probably considering the circumstances in the year, right? They played really well in this first half, but of course, as Pat Campbell will surely tell us, it is also a game of 4 quarters. And we will send it down to the field where John Perez is with head coach Pat Campbell.
Pat, you said one of the biggest keys this week was to continue to move the chains, not really take a lot of deep shots. How would you assess the offense in the first half?
Yeah, we're moving the ball pretty well so far. We got to stay with it. We were in a very similar situation with them last year, and it didn't work out the way we wanted. But we are doing a good job moving the chains, yeah.
Defensively, what have you liked, and what are you going to have to make adjustments for in the second half?
Well, I know how well they can throw the football, and I know that kid number 1 is fantastic. They got a bunch of really good receivers over there and a quarterback that can run. So we got to make sure we stay disciplined and stay on our keys.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Pat. Thank you. Guys, let's send it back up there.
Thanks, John, and we'll see what Northport has in the second half and maybe what adjustments also is made in the second half by Lindenhurst. We go to halftime. It's the break here. It is 16-0 for the Tigers of Northport. You're watching this Suffolk 2 showdown right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
One more.
One more. Right stance.
2, 1.
One more, man.
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Music of the 70s and 80s. It includes music by Billy Idol, Blondie, Michael Jackson, and Elton John. This is our 3rd home game in our cancer awareness game, and we hope you enjoy what we have in store for you. The 2022 band president is Richard Corbett. Our drum majors this season are Ava Meir, Nick Craffa, Molly Gonzalez, and Madeline Bailey. Officers include Charlotte Bingham, Carly Kupchik, Grace Kelly, Ruby Nolan, Isabel Zawoski, and Catherine Capsalis. Drumline captains are Hunter Brown and Chris Lucy. The Tigerette captains are Zoe Meadows, Sarah Edibol, Allison Reale, Sophia Merlino. The flagline captains are Kristen Perry, Anna Tumbarello, Isabel Rodriguez, and Gabby Weissman. The band is under the direction of Lynn Krillman. Assistant directors are Joe Hinton and Paul Seib. The Tigerette coach is Katie Lalota, and the flag line is directed by Emily McGuire. Tigers, take it away. 2022 Tiger Marching Band, Flag Line, and Tigerettes. On Thursday evening, October 20th, the Tiger Marching Band, Tigerettes, and Flag Line will perform in the Marching Band Festival being held at the Mitchell Field Athletic Complex in Uniondale. The show begins at 7 p.m. and tickets are available from the Marching Band office in the high school and also at the gate. The Northport Tiger Marching Band once again has been selected and honored to be the last band in the exhibition, and we hope you will support the Tiger Band with your attendance. A portion of each ticket goes to help the Tiger Band.
I brought him in. Oh, you brought him into this? To Varsity Media. Did he used to shoot for TV? Yeah. And that's how we met. But the thing is that,
Varsity Media is the tri-state area sports leader. We offer an array of services for any team, coach, player, athletic director, and parent. From game film to live streaming, we are available to cover your event anytime, any place. Looking for an enhanced experience? How about a professional broadcast with multiple camera angles, announcers, graphics, and instant replay? Need a highlight reel? We produce individual highlights for college recruiting and team highlight videos for end-of-season banquets. And when it comes to social media, nobody has you covered better than us. Hype videos, sideline highlights. We can tailor custom videos to make your team stand out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Why waste your time dealing with anyone else? When it comes to sports video, Varsity Media stands alone. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or online at varsitymedia.net.
I'm not worried. Yeah, well, that's great. You're able to live on your pension. Yeah. You know, it doesn't work that way for everybody. Well, I got my pension. How about your medical? Who's medical? You on the wife's medical? No.
High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
a clash of styles out in Suffolk. We love those differing styles, right?
top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring.
Pension was supposed to be able to cover everything. Yeah. After this is Delta has their own retiree insurance fund. But that's a high deductible fund and it's expensive. How long did you work for them? 36 years.
And good luck in your competition season.
Part-time job I ever had. Because I only took it as a part-time job. Yeah. You took it as part, but it became full. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to school. I was putting myself through school. I got an associate's degree in education, and I was going to go.
Time. Come on, one more. One more?
One more. Right stance.
Yeah!
2, 1.
One more, man?
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Welcome back to Northport High School. The second half is a few moments away. We had some great halftime entertainment from the band, the cheerleaders, and just terrific atmosphere, game day atmosphere here at Northport High School, and of course the home fans and everyone involved here. Happy at this moment as Northport has jumped out to a 16-0 lead over Lindenhurst. I want to again mention and thank the Yes Network, as We are excited to be teaming up with the Yes Network app to bring high school football games to even more fans. Our broadcast now simulcast on the Yes Network app. And to find out more about our upcoming schedule, you can hit us up on our social media channels. You want to hit subscribe on our YouTube channel, and we've got a whole host of games ahead that you can both watch on the Varsity Media Sports Network on our YouTube channel, but also as well on the Yes app. More eyeballs, right, Mike Hungerford, on high school football, the better.
Sure. A lot of great high school football in Long Island these days, and a lot of good teams, a lot of good games. Get out and check it out.
So all Northport in that first half. 16-0 was the score. Owen Johansen opened the scoring with a 16-yard touchdown run. PAT was good. That made it 7-0 with just a shade under 7 minutes left in the first quarter. And then Mike Rayo with a 4-yard touchdown run. PAT was good as well. That was with 9:14 left. And then a safety off of a snap. The attempted punt from the back of the end zone was a safety, and that's the difference there in this score, 16-0 for Lindenhurst. But that's their offense. Their defense also played really, really well.
Sure, defensively, they rallied to the football, made good plays, got solid tackles, not many missed tackles. And, you know, it's really tough to see that, you know, but Lindenhurst really couldn't get themselves, you know, solid, couldn't find anything that worked consistently, Dylan, you know, play after play, down after down. It was hit or miss here or there.
So Northport, you see, warming up before the game.
So it looks like Northport's getting the ball, Dylan, right, to start the half?
They will, yeah.
Receiving, so see what Lindenhurst adjustments they've made at halftime defensively to kind of stop that, especially the sweep was the play they will kind of hit them up on a little bit in the first half. And, you know, if Lindy needs a quick 3 and out, get the ball back and get something going.
We'll send it down to the sideline for John Perez for more on the adjustments that Lindenhurst is looking to make.
Guys, in a half where nothing went right for Lindenhurst, you've had the safety, you've got a couple of big touchdowns, and not really helping on defense. I spoke to head coach Nick Lombardo over Lindenhurst as he came out of the locker room, and I asked him, well, what was the message and what were some of the adjustments? He said, quite frankly, just play better. Just play better in all facets of the game, and it's got to go piece by piece, down by down, and play by play. And guys, seems like a pretty simple message for Lombardo.
Thanks, John. And again, we'll see if that works out for Lindenhurst, and they are the only undefeated team remaining in Suffolk 2 this year, and really they've been really good in second halves. You watch the game film of week 1 against Newfield. I believe it was even tied at the half. A lot of penalties and miscues. They ended up winning that game 28-3, and they beat Bellport, as you see the standings here. And this was coming into this week, right? So West Islip now is no longer undefeated, only Lindenhurst, but you see the parity there really from 1 to 7 at least, but Hills East is right there. You could add an 8th team. North Babylon is always a difficult team as well. So probably of those 13, you could realistically say 7 or 8 have a chance to win the championship by the year end. Opening kickoff, second half, fielded by Evan Gomon at the 20, and a really good return of about 23, 24 yards.
Gomon's did a good job in the return game for Northport. You know, first half had some good decisions, handling the ball and making some good plays. Once again, Northport with great field position to start the half.
So continuing that on Lindenhurst, and they beat Bellport at Bellport 23-19. That was a big second half performance by Lindy as well, and then a 28-7 win at home against Huntington. So Northport first and 10 from their own 42-yard line. First possession of this second half. Inside handoff, it's Valenti. And he just continues to move those legs. He gets out to the 47-yard line. Looks to be a gain of 5.
Looks like he's a little banged up, unfortunately, Valenti there. But good job trying to establish that inside running game again. And Dylan, one thing that I'm looking for is with the way Northport has ran the football on the sweeps and the inside run, can they come off of that with some play action and find the tight end, Andrew Miller underneath and lurking around there for some catch and run plays in the second half. Not a good sign here for Northport, though, with one of their featured runners down right now. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, so as Valenti gets worked on, we'll let you know of some of our upcoming sportscasts here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Some good ones, Mike Hungerford. We head back to the 5-1-6 where it's MacArthur and Southside, a game that you and I will be on. We'll be out at Don Snyder Stadium at Farmingdale as a rivalry is renewed. Two of the greatest head coaches on Long Island in the history of Long Island football. Russ Sellen for Freeport, Buddy Krummenacher for Farmingdale. That should be a lot of fun next Friday night. And then backyard brawl that is Bethpage and Plain Edge. They lock horns next Saturday afternoon. We continue on as we've got East Rockaway and Cold Spring Harbor in Conference 4. And then the resurgent, it seems like, right? Port Washington against Syosset. That'll be October 21st. Under the lights at Syosset, a new change there for the Braves was out there last night. We broadcast the soccer game senior night with Cold Spring Harbor taking on the Braves, and it's a great look, and it creates a different environment, right? When you can get the lights and get the student body a little bit more energized, and that should be a fun one as well.
Great playing games at night. Overwhelmingly, probably half the games right now are being played at night, which is really, really great.
Here's Christian Rayo, breaks a tackle, gets inside the 40, and he moves the chains.
Once again, they have that sweep heading to the, pulling two linemen, heading to the left, to the, left side of the Northport line, Lindenhurst right side of the defense, and cashing it pretty good right there and getting some good yardage for another first down.
And that's the thing, too, about Northport, right? We saw Valenti, but you can go to Rayo and both Rayos. You've got Andrew DeMarco as well at a fullback. You've got multiple, and of course, Johansen running the ball as well, right? Here comes Mike Rayo following Hecht, it looks like, and he gets the extra push as well. A little bit of a rugby scrum, but he gets downed at the 32-yard line.
If it's not broke, don't try to fix it, right? Keep it simple. And sometimes that's probably one of the base run plays out of their offense. And right now, if you can run your base plays and be successful, let's just keep running it.
Nice upfield block as well.
See right there, I think if the defensive end of the end there of Lindenhurst is not being blocked, he's being kicked out by the puller. Can he squeeze a little bit and make the hole, compress the hole a little bit? That may be an answer for Lindenhurst.
Again, it's an inside handoff. Had everybody tricked, it looked like. Thought they were going to Rayo. They go inside, and it's another first down for the Tigers, as it was DeMarco, 25.
DeMarco gets in there quick up in the hole, and that's one of those plays that comes off of the sweep, right? The inside play, whether it's a quick hitting inside zone play like that or a trap, and getting up in the hole, and it comes off of the sweep, and the sweep comes off of that, vice versa. And has the defense the Lindenhurst guys kind of off balance a little bit right now.
Yeah, really, Northport, with the exception, right, of that INT, I mean, they've been able to move the football pretty consistently this game to this point. Another inside handoff. It's DeMarco again. He bounces around, and he gets pulled down at around the 15. Good-looking run by DeMarco, who was the starting fullback at the start of the year for at least the first couple of games, and then Valenti was running the way he was. So now it's DeMarco getting another chance, the senior, to maybe get a few more touches.
Sure, and that's just a little isolation play right there. They send that wing back up in the hole, and he follows him behind it. So it's like out of the old, a complementary play. If you're in the I formation, running an isolation, just running it from the wing formation instead.
2nd and 2 from the 16. DeMarco again, he gets to the 15, but he is just shoved back. And again, that's Nick Rose, number 33.
It's a hard-hitting Nick Rose again, making a play when Lindenhurst needs it. Holding to third, probably 2 downs here, right down from the 15-yard line. You got 2 cracks to get a yard.
Are you an old school wrestling fan? I know Chris Sweeney, our director, is. He's got that like Iron Mike Sharp look, right? Like with the.
You're throwing it way back, man.
I am going back a few years, back in the Bob Backlund days. Handoff goes this side. Christian Rayo, can he round the corner? He does, and he gets inside the 10 for a first down.
Good tackle there, number 34 from Lindenhurst. Can't pay, but you saw him. Rayo just have enough speed to turn the corner there. He kept going wide with that ball and got enough to get the first down, and then some.
That was back when it was WWF, and that was back when it was on like Channel 9, right? On like Fridays. Was it? No, Saturday late afternoons. Back in the day. First and goal from the 9.
Got to go to YouTube and find that stuff now, right?
Yeah, you got Jimmy
YouTube,
Snuka
right?
and Piper's Pit. That was the good old days. Another inside handoff. Great read this time defensively. You know, Rose got a hand, as did the man on the bottom of that pile. You see number 70. That's Taron Musillo, 6'1", 190. He's only a sophomore, number 70, that defensive end.
Good play there by Musillo. A little more, pretty active player right there. And Rose, you know, making him keep bouncing that out of the hole a little bit. And that's kind of the play that Lindenhurst needed, right? It was first and goal, and you get a little bit of a loss, and now they're behind the sticks a little bit.
Musillo, the sophomore, 14 tackles, 4 sacks. Great motor, having a really good year for Lindenhurst. Let's go, Mont. And again, look, that is the motor. We just read it, right? It said exactly what Musillo is bringing. Gomont tries to kick it to the outside, and you got your defensive end at 6'1", 190. Musillo chasing him down.
And Rose is right in the middle of it again, right? He came on a blitz, was able to scrape down the line. You know, one thing about Rose is, you know, he's coming, but he's not getting great depth. He's staying flat to the line of scrimmage and chasing it down. And this hard-hitting conference, too, you can see it right now, down by down right now. The field's compressed. Northport just trying to keep the clock moving and keep the ball on the ground. And a lot of big hits right now.
3rd and goal from the 12. And we had a whistle. And this is an infraction that I was going to say a moment ago, Mike, that a lot of those flags and penalties that we've seen previous for Northport has not been there. They've been pretty good with that.
I think when they broke the huddle there on that play, there was a little confusion as to what the formation was. They had some guys going different places, and I guess they never got themselves really set and really lined up correctly.
The clock winds as we are approaching 6 minutes left. Good look there at the Northport varsity cheerleaders on the sideline. So off that penalty, it's a 4th and goal from the 17-yard line.
Up to on 3rd down, though. It's only 3rd.
I'm looking at the scoreboard. You've got 4th.
No, it's 3rd.
What we're using
but
here.
Here's the key, though, right? If they get half the yardage, maybe, or a little bit like that, and don't lose any yards, maybe a well-thrown ball.
Johansen to Radzul, and he gets inside the 10-yard line. But it's going to come back. It's an offensive holding penalty against the Tigers, and it seems like it's contagious, right? Once that first penalty happens, you get another, but you love the play call there.
I think if you're Lindenhurst, you have to accept this penalty because pushing back and replay the down, and if they make the field goal harder, make the field goal longer, rather than give them what would be just a little bit longer extra point here, right?
And they will take the holding penalty.
Good move by Coach Lombardo right there. Make them push him back. You run the risk of obviously having another 3rd down play and then maybe them scoring on 3rd down, but you have to make that field goal attempt longer. Got to bet on your defense a little bit to get a stop here.
Good look there at the Northport sideline. And that penalty pushes Northport all the way back to their own 26-yard line. So it is a 4th and goal from the 26. Holding in the high school game a spot foul. Johansen looks, fires, goes end zone from Miller, and nice breakup. Good defensive play by Brady Dolan, number 2.
You can see even when they lined up before the ball was snapped, they weren't going to let Andrew Miller be single covered out there. They were going to have a safety over the top. I think Johansen just took a shot at it anyway, see if he can come down with it. Have your best athlete have a shot at it and come down with it.
Yeah, almost why not, right, at that point. And good job defensively, the pass breakup there by Brady Dolan.
Holding play is looming large right now, Dylan, because they would have had probably the ball on about, I thought maybe the 8 or 7 yard line for a field goal, which is just about 5 yards more than an extra point. And now they're at 4th and goal from their, 26 yard line.
So 1st and 10. Oh, now 4th down. Johansen. It goes to Radzul, and he is pulled down. And again, they couldn't get a first down there, Mike. So it's similar to that last play of the first half. At least you get field position, right? So now you're forced Lindenhurst to go deep.
Yeah, Lindenhurst going to have to go about 89 yards to score a touchdown here, but a field goal would have gotten them to, to go back to the holding penalty, get them to 19-0, a 3-score game. Right now, you're only 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions away from tying the game. So, that was a really big turn of events, that holding penalty. Of course, that was a good-looking play by Johansen right there. It just wasn't going to be enough what they needed. They were hoping he could break some tackles and punch you in the end zone, but long way for Lindenhurst to go right now.
Christian Caponia gets his offense on the field, and they've got to go 90 yards to get in the end zone. Inside handoff. Good stop defensively by Northport, as it looked like the ball carrier for Lindenhurst, Gio Tarte.
Big hit down there, for gained a couple yards, but paid the price for it, getting in the hole there. The Northport defense has been physical all day, bringing the good pad level, wrapping up, multiple hats to the ball. Something we didn't see as much of the first time we saw him play a few weeks ago. Not as much.
Tarte, the junior, kind of more of that inside runner. 23 carries, 91 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Caponia scrambles, look out! He is taken down. A couple of Tigers were in there, and you saw Thomas Kraus, 23, part of that tackling unit. We look at it again, and I think Diaz was the last one to get him.
He looked right, and to his left, and the receiver was covered to the right. Carson out here was there. I think they're playing some type of a two-man outside high-low trap coverage on Carson. Not going to let him have the ball too easily.
3rd and 8 from the 14. Caponia rolls to his right, fires one near sideline, looking for Carson, and just a little bit out of that long reach of Chris Carson.
Good double move by Carson right there. He just couldn't hook it up.
We had Chris Carson with us on our public school preview show out at Oceanside, and if you've missed that, you can catch the replay on the Varsity Media Pass. But Carson and Chica were with us, and they no pads, and they were big boys.
Great looking athletes right there. You can see why Stony Brook plays Major Division I baseball, and you can see why he's going there to play. He fits the bill physically, and I have not seen him play baseball, but he must fit the bill athletically on the baseball diamond as well.
Snap better this time, and Webb gets his kick into the Northport sideline, and more great field position. We've said it all day long, right, for the Tigers. With the exception of that 99-yard drive that they had, their starting field position has been very good.
They've been north of the 40-yard line, heading to the middle of the field every time, if not in Lindenhurst end of the field. And then, of course, for one they were 97 yards away to start, they end up scoring on that drive. So, a lot of pressure again here put on the Lindenhurst defense. You really can't afford to go down another score you need a big play here. You need one of your playmakers, Carson, Chica, Rose, Tate. You need a play. Needs something to happen.
And on the other side, the host Tigers, they've got to smell blood now and attack. 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. Johansen calls his own number, goes to the sideline, and he's forced out there as a good first down run by Owen Johansen.
We always said you want to be ahead when you can, right? Ahead of the yardage and ahead of the plays. And on first down, you're able to get 6 there with Johansen. You know, it looked pretty easy.
Remarkably, last year, Johansen played the football season with a torn meniscus, which limited him defensively, but he still was out there as the QB. Inside handoff this time, and good read. Defensively, you saw 88 pop in there again. Poussey, we mentioned his name before. Another young, talented sophomore for this Lindenhurst defense.
Yeah, Campay and Poussey both on the ball there. To limit that to just about a yard gain right now, you're at 3rd and 3.5, almost 4. Probably have 2 downs again if you're Northport, but one thing that's a little dangerous is, if you're Northport is you haven't got that extra score yet, right? You're still up by 2. You haven't been able to make the next step. And
you're keeping Lindy in it.
A little bit. And Lindy's keeping themselves in it a little bit by playing pretty good defense right now.
3rd and 4. Hand off to Christian Rayo. Turns the corner. And a good-looking tackle as well, but did he get enough? And there's a flag on the play. 30 was James Gorman in on the tackle. And this will be against.
Going to block below the waist here.
You see it again?
You saw a guy go down there on the edge of the play right there. Looks like, I don't know if it was inadvertent or if he slipped, or most kids kind of know not to do that.
Listen, you remember the words, and John Perez told the story, right? Pat Campbell talking about that playoff game, 75 yards of penalties in the 4th quarter, where they just gave Lindenhurst chunks and chunks of yardage. This time, it's not giving Lindenhurst a chunk, they're taking away from your team, right? Like you've been in the red zone, you've been in dangerous situations, and you're just shooting yourself in the foot here with penalties.
Yeah, it's a little tough right now for the Northport offense.
Another inside handoff, and it's Giancarlo Valenti. Good to see him back in. Had to leave the game earlier, and he gets to the 35, but it's 4th down now for Northport.
Might be a punting situation here for Northport.
Maybe a little pooch. Billy Griffiths is your kicker punter. He's not out there, so it looks like they'll go for it here from the 35-yard line. 4th and 8. Johansen. Look out, Webb! With the sack, the big fella, Ian Webb, the junior, his 3rd sack of the season.
He got home right there on that play, real easy. Turned the corner, good bend, good pass rush.
I love in our conversation with Nick Lombardo, he described Ian Webb as a rough, vicious type of player. You like to have that as a defensive end, right? 6 foot 245 is the junior Ian Webb. So it looks like a lacrosse player there too, right? With the hair coming out of with the flow going.
He's got a little flow going there. Reminds me of the Connor Farrell. Face-off man.
Former Sachem East great.
Sachem East.
I got to tell you,
LIU.
I've never met someone with a stronger handshake than Connor Farrell. Like, he could break your hands.
He's got a pretty good grip on it. Comes out, it's pretty white when he lets go.
1st and 10 for Lindy. Here's Caponia. We've not seen him rush the ball much, and it's hard to do that, not only with those middle linebackers, right, but again, you've got guys like Johansen 8 and Cleary 51 as free safeties, but they're up on the play all the time.
he made the first man miss, and Johansen. There aren't many too many quarterbacks on Long Island that'll play defense the way Johansen does. Freeport guy, our man Gordon, he's pretty similar, smaller guy, not as big of an athlete, but can play defense very, very well as Johansen. But there aren't too many quarterbacks who are doing that.
That one he bounces and brings up a 3rd and 7 with 1:25 left here in the third quarter.
Big play here for Lindy.
Caponia rolls left, fires over the middle, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Matthew Durnan.
Oh, it's too bad he had Durnan. He had him. Would have been a nice first down for Lindy right there. Had it all you want, had what you wanted. Had an open receiver. Just couldn't put it on target for him.
So now all those penalties that seemed to be working against Northport, right? Like, you step up defensively. Also, Lindy, missed a couple things there offensively. Webb back to punt. Radzul calls for a fair catch. He backs up at the 25-yard line to make that catch. And Pat Campbell has his Tigers in pretty good condition. But you are right. I think you nailed it, Mike, on the head. You need that one more score, right? In this game, with the 2-point conversions of where they are, Lindy is still a couple of big plays away from either pulling right back in or tying the game.
I think if you're Lindy, right now, offensively, they're really stalled a little bit. They can't seem to find anything that's working for them. They're going to need a pick six, a fumble recovery, something to kind of get them going a little bit. Kind of like how Northport did last time when we were here against Hills East. They need something from their defense to kind of light a spark.
Rayo, I think it might have been did they call it or not? I thought it could have been a face mask as Rayo ran towards this sideline. The tackle was by Durnan.
Yeah, both offenses have kind of bogged down here a little bit in the third quarter, and Northport not as successful offensively as they've been earlier in the game, but they have that 2-touchdown lead, and they're just kind of content to play it. And they kind of think their defense isn't going to give Lindy too much of big play strikes. You can't really drive the ball on them.
I think that's dangerous, though, especially like you mentioned Chica and Carson and the game changers that Lindy has on offense. You're kind of playing with fire there a little bit. 2nd and 9 from Northport's own 26-yard line, and the Tigers will call a timeout. We'll take it with them as well. You're watching this Suffolk 2 showdown right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
a clash of styles out in Suffolk. We love those differing styles, right?
top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring.
Welcome back to Northport High School. Dylan Butler, Mike Hungerford with you here an overcast Saturday afternoon. It is week 4 in Suffolk 2, and the Tigers of Northport trying to improve to 3-1. Lindenhurst trying to remain undefeated. Owen Johansen scrambles out over the middle, complete to Drew Miller. Over the middle, a first down reception by Andrew Miller.
There's that drag from Miller over the middle. Off the quarter roll by Campbell. By Johansen.
And that was a previous play where Webb got the sack. Northport won't have to run another play here, and we've got 3 quarters in the books. It's a good one here in Suffolk County. It's Northport with a 16-0 lead over Lindenhurst. You're watching this Suffolk Division II showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
A clash of styles out in Suffolk. We love those differing styles, right?
top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring.
Welcome back on the Varsity Media Sports Network here at Northport. It's Northport leading Lindenhurst 16-0, but there you see Chris Carson wearing number 1 for Lindenhurst, a number that will go down in lore for Lindenhurst. Of course, that number by Jeremy Ruckert, the recent third-round selection by the New York Jets. Played 4 years at Lindenhurst, led them to a 2017 LIC title, as well as leading the Buckeyes to the college football playoff. He still lives in Lindenhurst and, of course, has some contact with the team, but hasn't had an opportunity to come to a game. The Jets taking on the Steelers tomorrow in Pittsburgh. Guys?
Thanks, John. An awesome responsibility, right, Mike? You wear that number 1, and especially when a Jeremy Ruckert is still in town, right? He lives still in Lindenhurst, and tremendous to see what he's done. And, oh, look at that hit by Rose.
Rose, very impressive to watch. Inside linebacker play. Clinic video right there. It's great being getting downhill and finishing it off.
Every rose has its thorns, right? And Nick Rose there bringing it.
You know, Dylan, the play before we had, and we'll get to Ruckert again in a second, but the play we had before to Miller, that comes off of the success that Northport has running the football, right? Linebackers creeping up, and then him getting in behind them, you know, behind that linebacker depth level, able to catch that drag, makes that play work. Got to come back to that again if you're Northport.
3rd and 4. Inside handoff. Valenti, the first down and more. Pulled down at the 30-yard line.
Great run by Valenti. Little jumping around, little jump cut here, little jump cut there, shoulder square, good ball protection.
Watch 44. Let's see some of those blocks.
Rose just missed him on the blitz. And the back gets up inside, nice block. Anatomy of a well-run play right there. Rose just missed him on the run dog right there.
1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Johansen, he's mixed between playing under center and also being in shotgun. He again has the man in motion. He goes to Valenti. Look out, just hopping over dudes inside the 20 is Giancarlo Valenti.
He's feeling it right now. Downhill, hard, fast, athletic. Love it.
Big reason why we showed him as our impact player or our player to watch, certainly on the offense, and especially when we heard from Pat Campbell about what he wanted to do, about getting those 4 or 5 yards, moving the chains, not trying to go for those big hitters all the time. And that's exactly what Giancarlo Valenti brings. 1st and 10 from the 19-yard line. This time he goes to Rayo. And Rayo gets, looks like another 5 or so, or 4 yards at least to the 15.
Dylan, what are your thoughts on Jeremy Ruckert?
I covered him. I remember, and I think we were both at the same game. I remember seeing him as a freshman. And there you see some of the stats and information from Jeremy Ruckert. I saw him as a freshman in the Long Island Championship game. They played Syosset at Hofstra. And even then, as a 14-year-old, I'm like, he's a dude, right? Like, he was wide receiver. he's just a great athlete, right? Like he was a baseball player, a soccer player, a soccer goalie, and then what he did football-wise for Lindenhurst, really remarkable stuff. More on that in a moment. Inside handoff, good stick defensively. Valenti is still tough to get down, and almost on cue, Lindenhurst's current number 1, Chris Carson, with the tackle.
Yeah, for my money, Jeremy Ruckert. When you leave quarterbacks out of the equation, it's a different position. You're talking about players that play, offense, defense, all type of spots. The best player in Long Island in recent memory for me is Jeremy Ruckert.
Sure, no doubt. And the thing too is, he was that hybrid tight end receiver, but then he was the middle linebacker. Then he was the kicker, and he had a boot. Like, he kicked some legit
he was a great kicker.
Field goals.
He was a great kicker, could put the ball out of the end zone, a lot of touchbacks. And when he played the edge, that outside linebacker spot, he could defend half a field as Johansen.
Yeah, flags, though, on the play. He dances himself into the end zone, but this
physical
likely
run.
Coming back. He loves that physicality, right, Johansen, it seems. And it'll be an offensive holding penalty.
He's a quarterback, sort of. He can. I mean,
he's a linebacker.
I mean that. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way at all. That's he's playing quarterback. He's an athlete playing quarterback, and he's he's just playing downhill, and love it.
So another penalty in the red zone against Northport. Another holding penalty, which again will push him back even further. It's back to the 16-yard line off of that hold.
Not all penalties, Dylan, are created equal. Man, I used to coach high school football with Buddy Krumenacker. You referenced him before. He used to say that, you can't ever commit penalties. You can't ever do it. Even when the referees don't call it, don't do it. Because now you're putting the decision-making on them and when they're going to call it, right? And that hold is more valuable than a hold called some other point because it takes a touchdown off the board. You're all not created equal.
Johansen under pressure, and it was Webb. How about the sportsmanship there by Webb, too, right? Picks him up, a little tap on the helmet for the big fella, Ian Webb.
Webb, to the Lindenhurst guys' credit, they bend. They've been put in some bad field position spots at times to have to play defense, and they just keep playing it, and now they're fourth down again.
And this is an official's timeout, as it looks like Griffith is on, so they will look to kick the field goal.
33.
Yeah, here we go, a 33-yard attempt by Griffiths. High snap, gets down. Carson came in to try to block it, and Griffiths puts it through the uprights.
Great effort by Carson coming off the edge. The snap was a little high. Great job by the holder getting it down. The operation right there, right? Big part of the field goal, and he got it through. Somehow Carson missed it.
19-0 the lead now for Northport. You're watching this Suffolk Division II showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
a clash of styles out in Suffolk. We love those differing styles, right?
top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring.
We're back here at Northport. Billy Griffiths field goal gets those fans who this is the time of the year where it's a little bit tough for the parents, right, and the fans, where the weather is getting a little bit cold. It's been overcast and damp today, but Griffiths, great job with a 33-yard field goal to extend Northport's lead to 19-0.
Tremendous hold there, number 5, Fred Salaish. Sorry if I didn't get your name exactly right, but a great hold on the getting that ball down off the high snap.
Griffiths back up. Little sidewinder, and looks like that'll come against Northport. Even before the kick, you heard the flag. A false start against the Tigers. They'll get pushed back.
And, Dylan, that field goal makes it a 3-score game again. We talked about, right? Getting to that point where it's it's going to be 16 is 8 and 8 is 16. Now 8 and 8 only doesn't make 19. So you have no way to get there, and you need 3 scores, and pretty tough for Lindy right now. It looks like what they have going offensively to score 3 times.
You must have done really well on the math portion of your SAT.
Falling down math, Dylan. Falling down math. 8 and 8 doesn't make 19. There you go. Make 16. There you go.
That's today too, right? Good luck to all the students, right? They took their SATs.
Today was SAT day. Yep. Good luck to all the students. Some of the guys here may have taken it as well. Good luck to them. They have pursuits to go to college. But Dylan, if you go back to Rucker for a second, he played that outside linebacker spot sometimes. When he would walk away, you wouldn't even think of running the ball or throwing it to that side of the field. And that's
Look at that. Will it stay in? No, it won't.
Make him kick it again. Make him move back again.
I think Lindy will take it.
Rucker was so impactful on both sides of the ball as a receiver, the defensive player, as a kicker, and you just had to know when he was going to Ohio State that he wasn't going to be a guy that wasn't going to pan out. One way or the other, he was going to have an impact there, and he would have played at that level of college football, at the highest level of 1A football, and then be a draft pick in the NFL. Great legacy of Lindenhurst football.
And his dad Bill, right? He goes viral with his reaction. They're a Jets family. They grew up as Jets fans, of course. When the Jets practiced at Hofstra, they would often go there as well. Such a feel-good story from Lindenhurst. We continue to wish Jeremy Ruckert all the best. One thing I love is whatever the sport, right? You follow the athletes. We cover them here, but then we kind of continue to follow them. We become fans as they play the next level and hopefully even the level beyond. Artale, inside handoff, nothing doing. I think especially that interior defense for Northport has been very, very stout this afternoon.
Yeah, I think Lindenhurst has been trying to find a formation that the box gets a little lighter, and the area, by the box, the area around where the ball was snapped by the tackle to tackle, trying to get the box a little lighter, and they got it there a little bit, but the defensive front by Northport has been very, very stout.
Carson's at the bottom of your screen. Look out for him as Caponia somehow gets out of it. Looks Carson's way. Another jump ball, an acrobatic attempt, but Carson was out of bounds.
I got to tell you, I don't care if that ball's out of bounds, it's incomplete. That's an unbelievable catch.
Even just for Caponia to get out of that trouble, falling backwards.
Look at this grab. Great camera work by the crew. That's an unbelievable catch. I don't care if it's out of bounds. That's awesome. He's some player. Just right now, it's just hard to get him the ball. The Northport defense is very aware of where he is. They're lining up 3 over 2 usually to his side. You can see on his side, on the top of the screen, there's a shallow defender and 2 deep defenders, 3 over 2.
Caponia over the middle. He finds his receiver for the first down, and he got hammered on that play as well. Somehow still was able to get that pass off.
He finds Christian Aquino there across the middle. As he's about to get hit. Well, good delivery and a good tackle. Of course, Johansen right in the middle of things again.
You mentioned Ruckert and his legacy, and probably the biggest part of his legacy, at least his high school legacy, is a winning one. And the tradition of winning will show you some of Lindenhurst's greatest moments. And he was right at the middle of them. That Pat Med win, that William Floyd win, and the Oceanside one there where they won their first Long Island championship in 2017. He was a major factor in those. You see, then they beat Garden City when they went to Suffolk 2. Most recently, that was their last one, that incredible 14-13 win over the Trojans. A couple of wins over West Islip in Suffolk 2, the one over Floyd and Pat Med, and that tie with West Islip back in 1972. A great football town is Lindenhurst, as Caponia goes far sideline. That is incomplete.
Yep, and that even formation there, running 2 outs. Looks like Northport's got number 23 that's cramping a little bit. He might be grabbing his foot to get up and move around. Says okay, but
Durnan was the intended target. You mentioned before, right, going out to Lindenhurst Middle School on a Friday night, and it is a football town, right? There's no question about it. A great community. They love their Lindenhurst football, and it's so fun to be out there on a game day. Here is Caponia, looks far sideline, and another incomplete pass. It was Carson who was the intended target, and a great job defensively by Nick Valenti.
Trying to get Carson on that out comeback pattern right there, and they just couldn't hold it. Yeah, but Dylan, whenever you go to a town that has one of those generational type players and you go to watch a game, there's an energy that they bring, a buzz to the school, to the community, and I think that Jeremy Ruckert had that, type of a player. Would bring that energy and to a community when he played. And
Jack Cohn for Sayville.
Jack Cohn was like that. All sports, there's always a player like that does that. It's just awesome.
Caponia will go deep, looking for Carson. And there's going to be a pass interference penalty. You saw the arms get locked up. That was Evan Gomont, and Carson kind of entangled there. And it'll be a big pass interference penalty, which should move the chains and create a first down here for Lindenhurst.
Yeah, I think because the way Gomont there had his body turned into him, Dylan, and had the arm, if he had turned the other way to see the ball first and had the other arm there, it might not have been called, but because he was turned into him, it kind of put his arm across him and wouldn't let him run. That creates the foul.
15-yard penalty and some new life here for Lindenhurst. Their offense has stalled throughout this day, and again, they scored 28 against Newfield, 23 against Bellport, 28 against Huntington, and they've struggled offensively. Here's Caponia going up the middle, gets inside the 30, but now the clock becomes a factor against Lindenhurst.
Sure, this is Lindenhurst's best drive of the game. Nick, he put the penalty in with a couple passes, a shorter field to start with due to the penalty on the kickoff. So they have a good drive here, but they're going to have to move a little bit quicker by trying to get in out of huddle a little faster.
2nd and 6 from the 29-yard line. Caponia now under center. Hands off, run right. Somehow there's a flag on the play. Somehow the carrier bounced out of that. You saw 20, I thought it might have been 28, no, 26, excuse me, as Gio Tarte had the run. Not the biggest is Tarte, right? 5'9", 180. And you saw the flag, and let's see the call. Oh, there's that holding penalty again. That looms large, this time against Lindenhurst.
There have been about, total in the game, probably 7 or 8. I know 7 or 8 sounds a little high, but I would think 6 at least holding penalties between the two teams. And, in high school football, a 10-yard holding penalty is just a drive killer. It's a spot foul, so it'll make it only a little loss of a couple yards, but they had a pretty good gain there. So these are just drive-killing penalties, holding penalties.
Yeah, I think they were going to face a 3rd and 3. Now it's a 3rd and 13 as Caponia back to pass, goes sideline and dragging his feet. Great reception on that far sideline.
Durnan.
Yeah, Durnan we've called his number a few times today. Tall receiver, 6'2", 180, really has come on of late for Lindenhurst.
He deserved that one because he was open a couple times and they couldn't hook it up earlier in the game, and that was a great catch, getting the toe down there for Durnan. He deserved that one. Well done.
Here we go. 4th and 5 from the 28-yard line for Lindenhurst. Trips left. Caponia fires over the middle. He's got a man. Jump ball. Flag is thrown. Christian Rayo was the defender. You see Johnny Aquino was the intended target. And let's see the call. It certainly appears like it would be a pass interference call. Look at it again. You be the judge. Now, he didn't look back at the ball. And was that the reason?
I don't know, Dylan. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to be fair. And I don't know. I don't see it. Personally, just to be honest, and it's a bang play, and you got to make a decision. There's no replay. It's high school football, and in the NFL that'd be on the 1 foot line, right? It'd be a 1st and goal from the 1 foot line. Here you still have to get a first down and then score because it's only on the 14-yard line. But
Tarte inside run, short gain on first down. As we're approaching 5 minutes down, and again, it's 5 minutes left and running, and it's a 3-score game.
Yeah, they're going quick here now. I think sneaking and running every now and then is a good play, especially if you can go a little no huddle off of it because you try to pop one here,
Caponia fires to the sideline. Carson was the only receiver in that vicinity.
Got a good blitz right there. From number 22, looks like he got his hand up at the last second and kind of disrupted that whole pattern. Jonathan Kiernan came and caused a little confusion there. Not confusion, but a little difficulty the quarterback delivering the ball.
I want to remind everybody, too, what do we got, a 7 o'clock kickoff, is it, right, at Mitchell Athletic Complex. Our next game for you here on the Varsity Media Sports Network, St. Francis Prep and Cardinal Spellman in the Catholic Football League. John Perez, Jim Pittman on the call there. Here's Caponia. Wrapped up, another flag. He's pushed back. Let's see the flag here. This will be an interesting one.
A lot of flags.
Oh, late, and that was, you know what that was there at the end? Little chirp in there by Northport. Original call, the hold on the offense. And here's the late one, a personal foul. Oh, they both go. That was interesting, right? Because you saw the white hat looking at the Northport player, then throws the last flag, but he said both now were against Lindenhurst. So the hold and a personal foul.
Here's a little Suffolk Conference 2 update for you, Dylan, right now. And late in the third quarter.
Ooh, an out-of-town score. Go for it.
54-41, North Bab over Smithtown West. I think just maybe the start of the fourth quarter. High scoring affair there. Smithtown West guys, they can chuck it around. Great quarterback, great receiving group right there. And they can score in bunches. And they were the 8th seed coming into the season, and just shows you the depth of the league that at any given day, anything can happen.
And North Bab is that team, right? Terry Manning no longer their head coach, but they still play the same way.
Wing T.
Yep. So hard to defend. Here we go. 4th and 35 from the 39. Caponia airs it out. Looks for Carson, and he makes the catch. And it looks like he's right at the stick. Or just shy of it.
It's an unbelievable catch either way. He's a little short of the first down.
Look at it again. Look at this grab by Carson.
But once again, the ball in the air. Everyone has a right to it in the air. He goes and gets it. He high points it, gets it, uses his long arms, puts them up there. It's 4th down now, Dylan, it looks like.
Hey, here we go. 4th down. From the 6, Caponia fires over the middle, and that's incomplete. There is no flags, and Lindenhurst turns it over on downs.
Trying to run that double slant look over the middle there, it looks like. Very popular these days. He couldn't look it through a ball. We couldn't really get it on him. for a completion.
So Northport in full control here. They're 4 minutes and 18 seconds away, Mike, from a big win, right? A defining win early in this season. Because as you said, it's wide open here, right? And it's at some point, just because of the standings, there's going to be a separation, right, between teams who are with one loss or now we won't have a team with any losses. Lindenhurst will, unless they come back here in the final 3 minutes and 51 seconds. But this is a big win for Northport to prove that they are among the elite this year.
Well, Lindenhurst has some really good players, very good quarterback. You know, Miller, you've seen some other guys, some of the running backs are really good, some good line play. They have a talented group, and they were highly regarded coming into the season. And they didn't necessarily play well at times, especially against Hills. Only really turned it on in the fourth quarter.
Well, Northport, you're saying, yeah.
Northport, excuse me, I'm sorry. Got a win last week. And now this is like one of those signature wins where it's kind of like, yes, this is the team we thought we were going to be. And we are really good.
Nice run down towards this near sideline.
Chase
Sasso with the run. But yeah, and on the other side of that, Lindenhurst comes in as a team that, beat Northport last year. They've got seniors, key seniors, right, in Chica, who we've not seen from since early on in the game, as well as Carson, but they're so young, right? And today at least, the execution wasn't there. Not the way that Lombardo wants it to be, certainly.
I would say that I think they're young on the line of scrimmage. And I think that the place where, in my experience with football, it's very hard to be very good and young up front is on the line of scrimmage. It's just, in this kind of a conference where it's physical, hard hitting, when you're young up front, there's going to be a learning process, and the learning curve is going to take a little while. And you can see up front on the offensive line that's part of the process going on right now.
And conversely, look at the other side, right? The Northport starting offensive lineman, you've got Matt McGovern's a senior, Justin Mack is a senior. Heading in their center is a sophomore. You got Cleary, a senior, and Hecht. He's a junior, but he's a 2-year starter.
Sure. there's a big difference between a season and 3 games of experience and 3 games of experience.
Yeah.
It's a big difference, and just a level of comfort, to play that offensive line position is a complicated position.
2nd and 7 from the 24-yard line. There's Sasso again.
Nice run by Sasso. A couple nice runs here by Sasso. Another back.
Another back of many for Northport.
Listen, you called it, Dylan. You said we didn't think anybody was going to go undefeated in the conference. It was going to be one of those years where everyone's going to battle. And once again now, if this holds up for the next 2 minutes and 29 seconds, it looks like it probably will. There won't be any undefeated teams, and it's going to be a dogfight every game. Got to come ready to play. It's a great division.
Yeah, in fact, in the standings then, right, these two teams would be tied with 3-1 records.
Yeah, the power points will come into play. And obviously, the power points for some people are kind of a mystery, but, in its essence, the power points are, it's your winning percentage. You gain points for your winning percentage, and you lose points for the people that the losing percentage of the people you lose to. So in simple English, lose to better people. If you lose to good teams, you don't lose too many points. If you lose to teams with worse records, it hurts you more. And if you keep winning, it takes care of itself. So the power points will certainly be a factor as the season gets later in the year when you have wins and losses against teams that might be 5-3 as opposed to 6-2 or 4-4 as opposed to 5-3. Those records will matter in the standings.
Another great run by Valenti to move the sticks and keep this clock going. And now Northport, they could feel it. Sasso bounces to the outside. Ball protection so important, and he did that.
Yeah, just stay in bounds, keep the clock running, and don't put the ball on the ground. And you're doing your job right now, right? You're one of 11 men doing their job, and that's what you got to do. And Dylan, football's a tough sport in terms of you play once a week, right? And when you don't play well and you don't win, it makes for a very long 7 days. 6-7 days. And Northport came off that a couple weeks ago, bounced back, got the win last week, and here they are, and they definitely made good strides and good progress. And now Lindy, they'll have that tough 6-day stretch of trying to fix it and get it right.
Final 45 seconds of this one, and Johansen will just take a knee. A huge win for Northport and for Johansen. You got to wonder, right? Again, you suffered 2 really tough losses and one that ended your season when you were winning 20-6 in the fourth quarter of a semifinal last year. This doesn't erase that loss, no doubt about it, right? You can't do that in the regular season, but it's got to be really special for these guys.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where last year, whenever somebody ends your season, you never know if you're going to get to play somebody once or twice. This might be your one shot at it, and to get that win, good for you, good for Northport, and congratulations. Of course, Lindy, they'll have to keep working at it and figure it out, and we'll see Lindy down the road. They're going to be a force in this thing before it's over. They only lost 1 game, and they'll be a formidable opponent for weeks to come.
So after that 22-20 home loss to Hills East, Northport back-to-back wins, and they now improve to 3-1. Lindenhurst suffers their first loss, and they are now 3-1 as well on the season. That'll do it here for us from Northport High School. I want to thank our entire Varsity Media Sports Network crew, executive producer Ben Turchin, our technical director Chris Sweeney, Angelo Caezo, AJ Nieves, and Ron Pierre with all the great moving images. John Pierre, our sideline reporter from Mike Hungerford. I'm Dylan Butler, thanking you for joining us here, and we look forward to seeing you next time right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.